From Japan, I say to you, Ohayo! Yep, Ohayo. And remember, if it's the afternoon and it's not the morning, you say konnichiwa. You got to hold out that wa. Good morning. How are you today? I don't want to speak about Japanese food, but I haven't eaten today, so I want to say something about Trinidadian food. If you ever get to New York, or if you get near a Trinidadian restaurant, wherever you might be, most people haven't had Trini food. So we have many folks from Trinidad in our church. So my wife and I have learned to really appreciate Trinidadian cuisine. So the most famous thing they have to us is it's called a roti. And they lay out what is that thing called? It's that thin, like Indian dough, and it's a big circle, and then they put things in it and roll it up. And what's in it, that's the roti. Curry chicken. They have pumpkin. They have something called, I know that name, I can't think of it. But anyway, those are good. But they have a thing they make here in Trin City in Queens. Doubles. It's that dough with some chickpeas and seasoning inside. And on the top, the ones that were just given my wife and I, tamarind sauce, mango sauce, and something, I can't remember that name. My friend Sharon, Sandra just told me last night, what is that thing called? Well, anyway, she bought us 6 or 8, gave it to my wife. They were so good that while my wife's eating it, she's calling her brother on the phone who lives in Queens. You got to get to Trin City. You got to get the doubles. You can have it hotter if you want it. I don't care for real hot food. But what I really care for is Psalm 75. Psalm of Asaph. Listen, here's the verses that jumped out at me. We praise you, God. It's not a long psalm. It's only 10 verses. We praise you for your name is near. People tell of your wonderful deeds. Now listen. You say, God says, I choose the appointed time. It is I who judge with equity. When the earth and all its pillars quake, it is I who hold its pillars firm. To the arrogant, I say, boast no more, and to the wicked, do not lift up your horns. Horns is a symbol of strength in the Bible, in the Old Testament. So, notice some things here about God that we learn, good reminders. God says he judges with equity. He judges everybody with justice and equity. Doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. He never favors the poor when they're wrong. Never. Never favors the rich when they're wrong. Never. Justice. He doesn't prefer one race over another. He doesn't prefer men over women. Judges with equity. And he wants us to look at things that way. Don't favor someone because they're rich. Don't favor them, oh, pobrecito, they're poor. No, they could be wrong. Some people who are poor are very evil. Likewise for the rich. God also says about this judgment, I choose the appointed time. He holds the earth firm when everything is shaking and rocking and rolling. He chooses the appointed time. There's appointed times for things. Like there was an appointed time for Jesus to be born in Bethlehem of a virgin. You and I didn't select that time. God chose that appointed time. There was a time when he brought Israel out of Egypt. They were slaves. There was a time he chose to give Moses the 10 Commandments and instructions about worship. It was his time that he appointed to put David on the throne. It was his time when Israel wouldn't listen to him that he sent them into captivity. You and I don't decide those times. God decides those times. There's a day coming when Jesus will return. God has appointed that time. You don't know it, I don't know it. Don't listen to people who tell you they know when Christ is returning. Just don't. Just work until Jesus comes. Live for Jesus. And then either you die before he comes or you're alive when he comes. But don't begin the guessing game and everyone knows so much about when he's coming. That has done such damage to the cause of Christ. If you study the history of, prophecy in America, people interpreting every verse, they try to apply what they're going through. Oh, that must be this verse being fulfilled now in World War I. Oh, the Kaiser in Germany, he's the Antichrist. And no, Hitler for sure. Everyone's so sure. And then when they're wrong, people who don't know the Lord go, bunch of airbags, airheads. Why are you bragging you know so much when it doesn't come to pass? So why go into that? Jesus is coming again, and God's choosing the appointed time. But here's one of my favorite verses from this psalm, verse 7. It is God who judges. He brings one down, he exalts another. God lifts one up, and then God can bring them down. It's a mystery to us, but it's the sovereignty of God. He raises up one and he brings down another. He raises up a leader in the Christian church who's a great blessing, then he lets them die. Or he brings down someone who gets full of themselves. I have a bulletin for everyone. God is running the universe. Isn't that wonderful to know? God's in charge. NATO is not in charge. Putin is not in charge. President Trump is not in charge. God is in charge. His ways are past finding out. It's hard to trace with your finger through history what he's doing, why he's doing it. But one thing we know, God sits on a throne, the throne, and that throne is not wobbly like this chair. That throne is firm. That seat it's settled. God rules heaven and earth. So rest in him. Don't you know that he's love, kindness, equity? Let's live for him every day and just say, God is on the throne. God is on the throne. And ask him for grace so that today we make Jesus beautiful to someone we meet along the way. Blessings, and see you next time. I got a double whammy for you today. 2 comments that are so good. Listen to them. They come to me from people who are watching like you do. Eva says, Buenos dias, Pastor. The guilt that David felt, Psalm 38, was a good way of knowing what he did wrong so he can come to God for forgiveness. Listen to this. We should be appreciative that God gave us the feeling of guilt. If God didn't give us the feelings of guilt, we would live our lives with no regrets and we would never know how wrong our ways are and how they hurt God. Is that not good? The feeling of guilt, conviction, is a blessing. When people get so hard they're past conviction, they can't be reached or touched, bad news. In fact, the closer we walk with the Lord, the more sensitive we are to the smallest wrongs, the little errors that we make in speech or in deed. And that's not a sign that God is against us. It's a sign that we're walking close to the Lord and his light is shining on these imperfections. Right along with Eva is Sandra, who writes, Psalm 38 and then the verses 15, 17, 18, 21, 22 stand out to me in a powerful way. I so respect the vulnerability that David displayed. His guilt and shame and confessing his sin and asking the Lord for forgiveness shows his trust in the Lord. Listen, if we can't be vulnerable with the Lord, who are you going to be vulnerable with? Remember, the one who knows us best loves us most. We're not informing him of something he didn't know, like, Lord, I know you never saw what I did or said, so I want to break it to you gently. No, he already knows. But he still says, come to me with sincerity and vulnerability, and as you confess, I will forgive and restore. Great comments. Blessings.